Good day, everybody. It is Derek from the Fantasy Flyer. It has been a little bit, couple months. I am sporting my New York Mets jersey. I went to a Mets game yesterday. I have been out doing summery things as upstate New York requires of this time of year. When you get the warm weather, you have to enjoy it. But I wanted to jump on here because I kind of wanted to update you guys on where the channel is going, both from a informational football and fantasy perspective, because some things are going to change. The one thing I can confirm is that there will be a second year of the Fantasy Flyer, so it is coming back. That is one thing that is absolutely set in stone. I absolutely love doing the shows, and I think there's going to be enough changes in the format where everybody will be able to enjoy it a little bit more. And so I wanted to hop on here and kind of let you guys know the direction of which we're going. And hopefully you guys will also agree with me by the time we are done with this video. If you do see this video, please share it, like it, do whatever you can, because I think this is really a turning point for the channel. So let's hop right into it. All right, so the first change for the Fantasy Flyer is that we are getting rid of the old show format. So there's no more 2-hour shows that were very frequent, like twice a week. Editing it wasn't too hard, I will say, from my point of view, but I think if we can take a little more time in producing the show on the front end and then me doing editing on the back end and doing less time recording, it will help. It is something that I wanted to do really since the middle of last year, but I didn't think it was appropriate to change the format until we were done with the first season. Now we are probably going to change that format. So the 2-hour shows are gone. There will be some longer shows, but those will more than likely be live streamed. A couple of things that I can think about: the trade deadline special, the Thanksgiving special. Those two shows will probably still be live streamed, and they will be longer, but it will be no editing involved. We will be all chat, all there. Once it's done, we're done. And those are also kind of one-off scenarios. But for the episodes themselves, episodes being a loose term, they will be much shorter in length. And I think there were a lot of requests for that we heard kind of danced around. Me and Taylor, we were kind of danced around. It's a lot of information to digest. It's a lot of time to invest in the show. And we understand that. So if we can make fantasy football purveyors and fans happier, we're going to do it. So that is step one. Along with cutting the show from 2 hours to maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes, or at least the episodes. Along with that goes the cutting of some stuff that we were covering. The easiest for us is the game previews and the recaps. They are essentially no more unless it pertains to fantasy. So the longer shows, we might dive into those games a little bit, like I said. But for general reasons, that's going to be cut, and we're going to focus more on a fantasy point of view. And then maybe when we get to the playoffs, we'll also do a little bit of a different take on some fantasy things, maybe even some more parlays, playoff parlays, things like that we did last year. But we'll see when we get there. That is a huge change for us. A little bit more on the front side. We have to do a little bit more research, but it's a lot easier for editing and a lot easier for you guys to digest that information. So that as well is another change for us. To follow that thought, the next thing we're changing is that a lot of these videos are going to be more singular in topic. So obviously we're going to have fantasy updates on the weekly episodes, where we will touch on the start sits, so to speak, from a fantasy point of view for each of the formats, whether it's dynasty, whether it's redraft, whether it's DFS, stuff like that. But the videos will be more singular in topic. You guys will see what I mean in not too long. There are several videos for preseason that I have already started working on, and they are not going to be 45 minutes. They're not going to be 2 hours, and you will see what I mean when I post those. So some of these, like for example, in a couple weeks, we're going to have top 5 quarterbacks, top 5 running backs. It's going to be the top 5 at each position. Episode should be around 20 minutes long, and that's going to be something that you can digest real quick, 15, 20 minutes, and you're done. And then other episodes, we will also focus on best, dynasty pickups and things like that. Top 5 wide receivers this week, top 5 sits this week, top 5 underrated players through week whatever. Those are some shows that we can put out and do them very easily, and it doesn't take too much of your time, and it helps us get some content out to you guys. So that's another big thing that we're changing. And one of the final changes that I can comment on currently is we are trying to get more direct content 2 listeners, 2 followers of the channel, 2 followers of fantasy football. So what that means is maybe no audio or video, but something like a newsletter, something where we can get out to some folks and give them something to read that doesn't maybe take 20 minutes, but is more of a 1 or 2 page thing that can kind of give you a summation. We want to give some of that information to you, especially when it comes to a dynasty level, which is kind of ever changing a little bit more, I think, than the redrafts and especially DFS. But this could have layers to it as well. There could be Sunday live before lock live streams for certain weeks. We could do that for Dynasty or for DFS. That's a maybe, no guarantees, but it is something that we are also working on. So those are all of the major changes that we're working on. Obviously, right now it's June 19th when I'm recording this. You probably won't see this until some point in July. But expect some of these things to come to fruition in the next 6 to 8 to 10 weeks as we go into the 2023-2024 football season. And I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video. Leave it a like, leave it a subscribe, share the heck out of it. If you don't follow the Facebook, please follow us. Other things may be coming down the road, but I just wanted to give you guys a little update as to where the Fantasy Flyer stood. And we'll see you guys in the future. Peace.